Good day, RGV. Today on Valuable to Vida, we're talking Earth Month and ways that we can help save our planet. We're breaking down ways also to prepare for the summer heat with energy efficiency tips. We're showing you the best fishing spots to catch a red snapper and so much more. The show starts right now. Hi there, and thanks again for joining us today. I'm your host, Danielle Banda. Now, the world recently honored and observed Earth Month, and so in an effort to help raise awareness for all that we can do for our beautiful planet, our team decided to speak with world-renowned author Christopher Lloyd of What on Earth books, and he was able to break down some exciting news. See, he recently partnered with His Royal Highness Prince Charles on a new book that helps to encourage and motivate children to get involved in efforts just to save our planet. It's up to us building a brighter future for nature, people, and planet, says the book. It even includes a foreword by Prince Charles himself and has illustrations created by over 33 award-winning artists from around the world. So we sat down with him for an exclusive. Take a look.
Hey everyone, it's Christopher Lloyd. I'm a children's book author and I'm very excited to be on the show, and I'm going to talk to you about my book about climate change called It's Up to Us, Building a Brighter Future for Planet, Life and People. Well, this is all about how we can tell the story of what's happening to the planet in 4 sections, really. One is to describe how nature works before people really emerged on our beautiful planet Earth, and then to look at what people have done to nature, particularly in the last 200 years, and then to look at what the problem is for the planet, because as everybody knows, the planet is warming and there's a lot of danger for many species, including humans, as the climate warms and the climate changes. And then we look at finally a set of new ideas or rules, and they're called Terra Carta, which means a plan of action for the Earth. And it's inspired by the future King of England, Prince Charles, who's the eldest son to the Queen. And when he came up with these ideas, I thought, let's turn this into a children's book so that we can try and reach out to young people to have a conversation with the adults in their lives to see what we can do to make sure that we secure the planet for the future. Well, His Royal Highness is very inspiring, particularly when it comes to nature, because ever since he was a boy, he was passionate about the natural world, and he loved gardening, and he loved plants and trees and wild animals. And he's now 73 years old. So for the last 50, 60 years, he's been a constant in his passion for trying to encourage people to connect with nature. Now, of course, we realize how important that really is. I mean, for many years, particularly adults have felt apart from nature because we spend so much time in our offices and on screens and in cars and trains and airplanes. You could think we're in some kind of bubble, but we're not. We're connected. We depend on nature. And the whole idea of Terra Carta, these new rules or this new plan of action, is to help children and their families and parents and teachers really understand in a colorful, visual way what we can do to make a difference, to feel part of nature, not apart from nature. Well, I think, first of all, through the book, we try and tell the story in a very accessible way. And one thing we did with this book, which we had to publish this book in quite a hurry and in time for the climate conference at the end of last year, COP26. It's just publishing now in the States as part of the Earth Month, as you know. And because we had to do it quickly and we needed 33 different full-page spreads, beautifully illustrated and painted, we couldn't find an illustrator who could do it in the right time scale. So we ended up getting 33 different artists to illustrate each spread. And that's taken the book down a really fascinating route. I don't know, maybe on the screen you can see some of the artwork from the book, but we have illustrators from Siberia and from Canada and from Aboriginal Australia and from Vietnam and from Kenya and from Argentina and from Japan and from China and of course from the USA.
Feel free to check out the book yourself and maybe help to introduce Earth Month tips with your own family, if not already. After all, it's all of our home. I know it's hard to think of, one single place as home to us all, the millions and millions of people on the planet, but it is. And the more that we know about our beautiful Earth, the better that we can do to help protect it. So let's go ahead and learn a little bit more. So according to parade.com, it makes sense that the Earth is not a perfect sphere. The site says that while we know the Earth isn't flat, we might be interested to learn that it's not perfectly spherical either. It outlines that according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, quote, Earth spins while gravity pushes toward the center, and a centrifugal force perpendicular to its axis pushes out. End quote. So that's the reason it's kind of more of a tilted shape rather than a perfect sphere. And apparently Earth's circumference is about 24,000 miles. The site outlines that gravity is always pushing bodies of water into a spare tire shape too, which is interesting because when you take, the not perfectly spherical aspect into consideration. And speaking of our good friend gravity, the site says that while it's very strong, our planet Earth actually has an uneven gravitational field. Apparently this happens because Earth is really rocky and bumpy, so it's both positive and negative. And if you recall from science class, Earth is a terrestrial planet. Again, it's really rocky and honestly just made up of that, rocks and metals. The site actually says that the only other terrestrial planet in our solar system, or it includes Mercury and Venus and Mars. And apparently melting glaciers have had a really big impact on that spherical shape of our home planet too. The site says that the spare tire around Earth or the waistline might have possibly been caused by an impact of climate change, so it's definitely a lot to unpack. It's hard, to study the Earth for many evident reasons, but one of those is that it's constantly spinning. The site actually says that it spins as fast as 1,000 miles per hour, but that it really depends on where you're standing on the planet. It outlines that if you're right at the equator, for example, then you're definitely going to be moving pretty fast, the fastest. But if you're at the North or South Pole, then you're not going to be moving at all. I know, crazy. And even though we're still learning about our planet Earth each and every day, we've certainly gathered a lot of information about it, throughout the years. In fact, the site says that Earth is about 4.45 billion years old, and that the National Center for Science Education has been able to detect this by research on the rocks and meteorites that have been found so far. Earth is, of course, such an interesting place, but we don't have to wait for Earth Month to think about ways that we can help better serve our planet. The first ever Earth Day was actually observed in 1970, and while it was a good, way to get us all thinking about our home, raising public awareness for environmental concerns, we should really be practicing kindness for Earth every single day of our lives. So hopefully today's a good day for us to start, if not already. And one overlooked yet highly important way to do so is something that you've surely heard many times before: reduce, reuse, recycle. And there are lots of ways that we can get involved with our local community's efforts to help save the planet. After all, it takes a lot of small steps with us just doing each of our parts, right? Helping the environment and just being cognizant of our waste and energy plays a big role. And speaking of energy, our team actually had the chance to catch up with Reliant for some helpful tips to keep in mind when it comes to preparing for the summer heat. Check it out.
Hey guys, my name is Hosea James, and I'm here to talk about some energy efficiency tips to help us all prepare for the summer. Here in Texas, we know it's hot, and so we are encouraging all Texans to prepare for the summer. And the way to do that is very cost prohibitive. It doesn't cost anything. These first three tips are very simple. Number one, it's, what we call our 4x4 principle. So anytime families are going to be away from their home for more than 4 hours, we're asking them to increase their thermostat by at least 4 degrees. Another cool efficiency tip is just making sure your AC is efficient. And so what that looks like is on the inside of your home where the air vents are located, is making sure that it's free from any obstruction, such as furniture, such as curtains or anything like that. And then also on the outside is just making sure that the same thing at that AC unit, you want to make sure it's free of debris, flowers, plants, or any tree limbs. So, one of the things that we always sometimes forget as Texans is to make sure that we close our curtains and our blinds. What we found is that direct sunlight has about 30% more demand on the AC unit. So if you have time as a Texan to invest in your HVAC system, some cool things that you can do to prepare for the summer is one, schedule a checkup, HVAC checkup or tune-up. And what that looks like, oftentimes as people or individuals, we are very intentional about making sure that we maintain our vehicles, right? There's a preventative maintenance that we do to make sure that our vehicles are efficient and keep running or last longer, right? And so same thing or same intentionality that we encourage you to also do for your HVAC unit, making sure that you have a consistent drumbeat or cadence of ensuring that you schedule an HVAC professional technician to come out and service your unit. Another cool idea is switching out those old light bulbs. If you have those old incandescent light bulbs, we're encouraging you to switch those out for LED light bulbs.
Again, be sure to at least keep in mind their 4x4 principle, setting your thermostat 4 degrees higher when you're away from home, for more than 4 hours. And this will definitely help you save on energy usage and costs just to start. But we hope you're able to implement many more of these tips into your daily routines so that you can be prepared for the summer heat Texas is bound to bring. Break, and then we've got to look at your local weather updates, but be sure to stay tuned because Valley Puerto Vida is going to be right back. And we'll talk the best fishing spots if you're looking to catch a red snapper this summer, that info and more when we return.